This is the CBS Evening News. Bob Schieffer reporting. Good evening. Well, it became official today. Poland's communist president nominated a member of the Solidarity Trade Union to be the country's next prime minister. The nomination must be approved by the lower house of Poland's National Assembly. But that's all but certain, since Solidarity and two minor parties hold a majority there. So by next week, if all goes as expected, Poland will be run by a non-communist government for the first time since World War II. Anthony Mason reports.
The Communist Party's hardliners were known to be grumbling about surrendering power to Solidarity's coalition. But as they convened an emergency meeting of the Central Committee today, the official announcement was made. President Jaruzelski has asked journalist and Solidarity advisor Tadeusz Mazowiecki to serve as prime minister and form Poland's first non-communist government since the Second World War. A close confidant of Lech Wałęsa, Mazowiecki was arrested by Jaruzelski during martial law. This photograph was taken during his year in detention. I am afraid, Mazowiecki said in an interview on Polish TV tonight, we can do a lot. It won't be easy, but it's possible. The Communist Party debated its future for more than 10 hours. When it was over, a spokesman said the party was ready for a coalition, but not on all terms. However strong the objections from the hardliners, they are simply too late. Jaruzelski will offer the nomination to Parliament perhaps as early as next week, and Solidarity has the numbers to approve it. Senator Alan Cranston of the Foreign Relations Committee met with Jaruzelski yesterday.
Well, I think he would have preferred a different course, but he accepts this course, and now he's going to do his best to make it work.
In Gdansk today, Lech Wałęsa and other Solidarity leaders met to begin planning the new government. It's been a long time, said one Solidarity member, 9 years, but it was worth the wait. Anthony Mason, CBS News, Warsaw.
Pope John Paul began a visit to Spain today, but his thoughts were on the historic developments in his Polish homeland. Arriving from a 3-day youth festival, John Paul praised the naming of a Solidarity prime minister, but said the next steps will not be easy. The new face of communism in Eastern Europe is being studied closely by the administration, but in an oddly low-key way. Apparently, that's because administration strategists are worried that if too much is made of it, the Poles will expect more financial support than the administration feels it can give. Jacqueline Adams is at the vacation White House in Maine and has more on that now.
President Bush is determined to avoid playing any role in the historic events now unfolding in Poland, preferring today to plunge into the Atlantic Ocean on a dare from his grandchildren.
It's wonderful!
Last month in Gdansk, it was a different story.
I came here to assure you we will help Poland.
As he unveiled his $119 million aid package, the president promised to help bankroll Poland's reform movement.
I outlined steps that America is prepared to take to assist Poland as you move forward on the path of reform.
Today, his aides say bluntly, we've got budget problems of our own. Until Poland gets its economy on its feet, don't expect more U.S. aid.
They need Western assistance, but it has to be applied to an economy which can receive it and take advantage of it. Back in the 70s, Poland was given a lot of money. They didn't use it wisely.
The U.S. has sent 16,000 tons of surplus food to Poland, but the president still hasn't asked Congress for his $100 million fund to spur private investment. And the Western countries he asked to help haven't even agreed on a specific aid proposal. Experts say Solidarity leaders are deeply disappointed and want, indeed expect, a lot more than they're getting.
It really isn't much. It's something that, so to speak, the Poles could eat through in a couple of weeks.
The Bush administration and private analysts agree there's no magic solution to Poland's crushing economic problems.
We can't supply them with the political will that they're going to have to show as a society to do the reforms they need to do. That's just not something we can export or write them a check for.
So the Poles are caught in a classic catch-22. They can't transform their state-run economy, they claim, without massive infusions of foreign funds. Yet the international bankers, businessmen, and even the U.S. government say they won't invest until the economy is fixed. Jacqueline Adams, CBS News, with the president in Kennebunkport.
Earlier this afternoon for our Washington Notebook, we talked about all this with Jan Nowak, the director of the Polish-American Congress, and while he finds this week's developments as stunning as the rest of us, he warns that Poland's problems are so serious it will be difficult for any Polish government to succeed. Mr. Nowak, I'm sure you see these recent developments as wonderful news, but any government in Poland, whether it's led by Solidarity or anybody else, is going to have a very difficult time in the days to come. Don't you agree?
Oh, I agree entirely. They will face tremendous difficulties from the very first day.
What is the main problem they face?
Well, the main problem is the shortage of food. Just before I came to the studio, I had a telephone call from a city of Częstochowa where people are queuing for bread, but the bread did not arrive because the people on transport are on strike. So, and I believe that the communists really wanted to shift the responsibility at the moment when any government is going to face a disaster. Well, there will be also a problem of some kind of a struggle with the Communist Party. I guess that the most important issue will be who is going to control the mass media. The Office of Censorship is under Prime Minister. Is Mazowiecki going to control the access to the media? Mr. Rakowski, first party secretary, says that whoever has the control of the media has the power.
Well, let me ask you this question. Do you find it somewhat odd that the administration has said so little about the recent developments? And what do you suppose the reason for the very low-key approach the Bush administration has taken is?
I do not understand it, because I believe that until yesterday, the administration handled the situation in Poland very skillfully. And then came, a reaction to this event, which is, after all, may prove to be a turning point in history. Well, just saying, no, we do not consider any increase of aid. And I believe we are involved in psychological game. And from the psychological point of view, it was a bad moment to say this. Nobody expected this. Somebody will go and say, well, instead of 100 million, we will offer them 300 or 400 million dollars. But there should have been an expression of intention that the assistance will be considerably increased, subject to conditions.
Jan Nowak, the director of the Polish-American Congress. The extraordinary events along the border between Austria and Hungary continued to unfold today. This time it was a symbolic picnic on the Austrian frontier that was used as a cover for 200 East Germans who made their escape to the west. Martha Teichner narrates our report on that from London.
For Hungarians, the day had a satisfying two-sided symbolism. As part of their government's new openness, they were invited to the border to help dismantle the 260-mile fence that divided Hungary from Austria, east from west, for more than 40 years, a process that has been going on since May. With a silent intensity, they worked, cutting through the barbed wire, cutting themselves keepsakes to be treasured, pieces of the fence that for so long they hated so deeply. Even the Hungarian border police got into the act, happily handing out bits of wire, along with cards authenticating them as official fence souvenirs. But this do-it-yourself détente had a second secret significance. It served as a cover for hundreds of East Germans to slip across the border to freedom. They simply walked the last mile between the fence and the border and kept going. For the last 2 months, East Germans have been allowed to travel freely to other Eastern Bloc countries. An estimated 200,000 have applied to visit Hungary, its relaxed border with Austria, their best chance of escape to the west. In the last 2 weeks, 1,300 have made it. More than 4,000 have been caught. Today, they had no idea what their fate would be as they set off nervously, with nothing but hope. Finally, they realized they were waving to people on the other side. It was easy, and they dared to feel joy. This tide of East German refugees has caught Hungary in an awkward and dangerous position in the middle of a major diplomatic crisis between East and West Germany. But Hungarian officials continue to turn a blind eye. Today they did nothing as they watched the frenzied race for freedom. Afterwards, the runners, dazed, realized they had won. No one was caught here today. As this man embraced his children, one boy could be heard saying, Daddy, why are you crying? Martha Teichner, CBS News, London.
And in the Soviet Union, organizers claim as many as 600,000 people protested today in the main square of Baku, the capital of Azerbaijan. They want more autonomy from Moscow and continued control of a disputed region where Armenians are in the majority. Still ahead on the CBS Evening News tonight, another killing, and Colombia agrees to extradite drug lords to the United States. And later on, baseball in the Far East, what Japanese hitters are learning from American sluggers.
All brand, part of your health kick?
Yeah, helps ensure I get enough fiber.
Each morning, Tracy Reed takes out some fiber insurance with Kellogg's All Brand, concentrated fiber that can help her meet the National Cancer Institute's guidelines for a high-fiber, low-fat diet. A diet some studies suggest may reduce the risks of certain forms of cancer.
Oh, you're crazy to worry about stuff like that.
And I'd be crazy not to.
Kellogg's All Brand. Make it your daily fiber policy.
I'm Jim McKay for General Motors. You've been hearing a lot about car sales this summer, but you've been waiting for the big one. Here it is. America's biggest car company announces the biggest sale in its history, GM's Big Easy Sale. Over $1 billion big. Total cash back and dealer incentives over 60% bigger than last month. It's on every single 89 GM car and light truck. The Big Easy. It's that big, it's that easy. It's at your GM dealer right now.
Life without cholesterol. Is there? Give up the best things in life. What's left?
Introducing new Miracle Whip cholesterol-free dressing. Now the best things in life are cholesterol-free.
Thank you!
If you could taste time, the sun, rain, tradition, this is what it would taste like every time. With a name like Smucker's, it has to be good.
President Bush vowed to work closely today with Colombia to extradite drug lords for prosecution to this country, and Colombia's president reinstated extradition after the third drug cartel assassination this week in Colombia. This time, the victim was a leading presidential candidate. Doug Tennell in Miami has our report.
Luis Carlos Galan, the man widely expected to be Colombia's next president, was about to deliver a campaign speech outside Bogota last night when the gunfire broke out. What followed was sheer pandemonium, a shootout in a panic-stricken crowd that left 10 wounded. The gunman's target, presidential hopeful Galan, was bundled into a nearby car. He died of multiple gunshot wounds, the latest victim in the government's escalating war with Colombia's cocaine cartels. Within hours of the attack on Galan, outgoing President Virgilio Barco retook the offensive, using special presidential powers to reinstate one law the cartel's kingpins fear the most, the extradition treaty with the United States. Barco called for emergency measures to stop the drug cartels behind about 80% of all the cocaine sold in America today. The risks of war with the cartels are enormous because no one, it seems, is beyond their reach. In Medellin, one of the cartel's hometowns, they murdered the governor with a car bomb in July. Yesterday, they targeted Medellin's police commander, spraying his car with gunfire. The region's top law enforcement officer died from over 100 bullet wounds. He had given up his bodyguards to protect local judges who went on strike last week demanding better police protection. The strike was prompted by the assassination on Wednesday of a senior magistrate in Bogota who had ruled against two suspected leaders of the cartel. As of this week, every Colombian judge who has investigated the two alleged ringleaders is now either in exile, forced retirement, or a victim of the cartel's hit teams. Doug Tennell, CBS News, Miami.
Police in Los Angeles are cracking down on drug dealing and gang violence. Hundreds of officers went out overnight and arrested scores of gang members. The LAPD calls it Operation Hammer, and it's continuing tonight. The police say they intend to return the streets to law-abiding citizens. Two Colorado prison inmates and their wives are in custody in Nebraska tonight. They face charges next week in connection with a daring prison break that began yesterday with a helicopter hijacking. Bob McNamara now with that report.
It was a 9-minute blaze of bullets that ended the two convicts' brazen escape last night on the streets of Holdridge, Nebraska. 30-year-old Ralph Brown, 21-year-old Freddie Gonzalez, and Patricia Gonzalez, one of the two wives who'd sprung them, finally giving up.
They made statements to the effect that there were just too many officers, that every time they turned a corner there was another cop. So they decided to give it up.
Their rented getaway truck strewn with bedding, groceries, and guns, and all the action today was the talk of Smitty's and the coffee shop down at the Dale Hotel.
This is the biggest excitement we've had in a long time. Causing a lot of talk and a lot of people in town.
It was more than 300 miles from Holdridge and 8 hours earlier in southeast Colorado that the daring saga began at the medium-security Ordway State Prison. The two prisoners' wives aboard a helicopter on the pretense of photographing real estate, suddenly ordering the pilot at gunpoint to swoop into the prison yard and scoop up their waiting husbands.
They were already standing out there when it landed, and it went quick. It was, it couldn't have been over 20 seconds.
35 miles away, the helicopter was spotted where the escapees and wives had met their getaway truck. The pilot found bound and gagged in an abandoned house, and last night, relieved he'd survived.
Imagine what it feels like to be flying, and all at once you have two pistols on your head, and they tell you you're going to land in a prison, and your biggest fear is being shot by the prison guards.
But no shots were fired, and today a prison guard is under investigation for refusing 3 orders from the superintendent to shoot the helicopter down. Bob McNamara, CBS News, Denver.
Daddy, I want my teddy bear.
I want my soda.
Grandma, isn't this fun?
I want my Serta.
Why do people want a Serta? The answer is the exclusive Serta Surface. It tops firm support with layers of thick, luxurious comfort. It'll spoil you for sleeping any other way. So get a Serta Perfect Sleeper.
I want my Serta.
These days, I'm eating better. Less cholesterol, more fiber, plenty of fruits and vegetables. So how come I'm the one with a painful gas?
Surprise! The foods highest in nutrition are often highest in gas. That's why there's Gas-X. Unlike the leading antacid, Gas-X has the only ingredient approved for the relief of gas pain and pressure. See? Only Gas-X gets rid of the gas, so you feel better fast.
I'll eat to that.
Eat right and feel right with Gas-X.
I'm a born skeptic. So these deals and cashbacks everybody's shouting about, go right by me. Now GM's saying they're having their biggest sale ever on every single GM 89 car and light truck. Please, see me buying that?
Announcing GM's Big Easy Sale with over $1 billion in rebates and dealer incentives.
I bought it.
And it's on right now.
A special mass was offered in Houston today for Mickey Leland, the Texas congressman killed last week in Ethiopia. He was remembered as a man who worked hard for the poor and the hungry and who never forgot his roots. James Sartori has our report.
Bells at St. Anne's Catholic Church rang out for Congressman Mickey Leland this morning as family, friends, and political leaders gathered for a private memorial service. 6 days have passed since searchers found the site where Leland and 15 others died in a plane crash while checking food shipments to hunger-torn Ethiopia. On Sam Wilson Street in Houston's 5th Ward, where Leland grew up, the news is still hitting home.
Oh, Lord, yeah, I remember when I heard the bad news. I heard it that last Sunday morning. I tell you, I like to have a heart attack.
Neighbors paused to remember.
Yeah, he would come by and say hello, Miss Ratcliffe, and give you a kiss and a hug. I was so proud of what he did. I really was.
Leland left one of the poorest neighborhoods for the most powerful circles in government, but always came back.
No, he never forgot the neighbors and things. Never did. Up until the last, he never have forgot the neighbors. He will be missed. I know that because I miss him already.
Leland went on to serve 6 terms representing Houston's 18th congressional district, an area much like his old neighborhood with a large population of minorities, the only district in Texas where whites do not make up a majority. Leland's death means one less voice for the people he sought to help, the poor and the hungry.
He went to Africa and helped the African kids, feed them and stuff.
Lots of those people over yonder and the lots here is still need his help with somebody else gonna have to take his place.
Whoever takes Leland's place will likely fight for the same political agenda. But at a memorial last night, the talk was not of politics, but relationships.
He shared, we shared, he cared, but most of all, we loved Ricky Leland.
The public mourning is over. Leland's family plans a private burial next week. James Hattori, CBS News, Houston.
Now, new scientific tests prove Heart's Blockade Repellent gives your pet total protection against fleas and ticks, or your money back. Unsolicited, here's what some satisfied Blockade users have told us.
I've never seen my dog free of ticks, even though I've used expensive dips, until I used Blockade. Now I recommend it to everyone.
I've tried many brands of flea and tick products for my dog, and Heart's Blockade is by far the best product I've purchased. I will continue to use it because the product is great.
Heart's Blockade, guaranteed flea and tick protection that really works.
Are your teeth sensitive? Do they hurt? Watch out for the domino effect. It could end in tooth loss. It's a chain reaction that can start with sensitive teeth, then pain, which can make you stop brushing. That can lead to plaque buildup, gingivitis, periodontal disease, even tooth loss. Sensodyne helps stop the pain and the domino effect. Ask your dentist if you need Sensodyne, the toothpaste dentists recommend most for sensitive teeth. Helps stop the pain and the domino effect with Sensodyne.
U.S. Sprint proudly announces fiber optic 800 services for businesses large and small. No matter what you're selling by phone, your customers will sound closer and your calls will cost less. Get America's only nationwide 100% fiber optic 800 service for your business. Call Sprint now and talk with the best.
A black policeman was stabbed to death today just before the start of a brutal show of government force in South Africa. Police using dogs and whips waded in to attack protesters on beaches that had been reserved by law for whites only. Richard Wagner now with that report.
The police were out early this morning, sealing off all white beaches around Cape Town, which anti-apartheid activists are determined to integrate during the current defiance campaign. Officials claimed the beaches were closed to the public today so they could be used for the training of police dogs.
I was asked to leave the beach because I might get hurt. Now, the only reason I'm going to get hurt is because there's policemen, guns, and dogs on the beach.
The protest was led by Cape Town's Anglican Archbishop Desmond Tutu. Followed by hundreds of supporters, Tutu began the Battle of the Beaches by a short walk around one segregated seafront. Moments after those scenes were recorded, the police cracked down, loosing dogs on some demonstrators and beating others. News people were taken into custody for several hours. Film and videotape was confiscated. As police were rounding up members of the media, Tutu and his followers moved on to another beach.
When we arrived here, we were thrilled to see so many Democrats who wanted to exercise the right to God's beaches.
Opponents of apartheid may want to use the beaches and all the other amenities of this country, but that day has not yet come. And the white rulers of South Africa show no signs of a willingness to change this nation's official policy anytime soon.
There hasn't been any police action.
Going to be now.
The struggle isn't ending now. We've still got a long struggle, but ultimately we're going to win.
Today's actions by the police send a clear message to the orchestrators of the defiance campaign. Their anti-apartheid activities may have been tolerated by the government in recent weeks, but now that toleration has come to an end. Richard Wagner, CBS News, Cape Town.
Iranian President Rafsanjani today dropped hardline Interior Minister Motashimi from his proposed cabinet. Motashimi is a founder of the Hezbollah terror movement and opposes any hostage talks with the United States. But today's move sets up a battle with Parliament, where a majority has said it wants Motashimi to stay.
Made in the USA. It means more than great fashion, quality, and fit. It means feeling great about the clothes you wear. Look for and buy the Made in the USA label for the fit, the fashion, the fabulous feeling. What a feeling.
There are vitamins you take because you feel you have to, and vitamins you take because you want to. Vitamins can be flaky, bumpy, crispy, crunchy, and taste so good. It's Kellogg's Product 19 with 100% vitamin nutrition. The only high-nutrition flake made with the wholesome goodness of 4 grains, including oats. Kellogg's Product 19. Flaky, bumpy, crispy, crunchy, tasty vitamins.
Dentists warn the #1 dental problem isn't cavities, it isn't tartar, it's plaque. And most people just don't brush well enough to get enough plaque off their teeth. That's why there's Plaques, the dental rinse specifically designed to remove plaque.
Supercol Mint kills plaque germs.
But how does it taste?
Plaque fighting, Supercol Mint.
But how does it taste?
Tastes great.
Supercol Mint mouthwash.
Finally tonight, with Major League pennant races in this country nearing the stretch, we thought it was a good time to take a look at the great American pastime. So for that, we go, of course, to Bill Whitaker in Tokyo.
Americans introduced baseball to Japan more than 100 years ago. And since then, Americans have exported a number of innovations and refinements to the game. The latest, the brawl. Warren Cromartie, formerly of the Montreal Expos, is the Tokyo Giants' #1 slugger.
That's the way we play baseball in America. What we call this hardball. We play hardball. Here in Japan, it's a little bit more of a conservative game. You know, it's a gentleman's game.
In the 12 major league clubs here, the good team player is prized above the individual star. The strike zone is widened for bigger, more powerful Americans, just to keep things equal. It's not all about winning. Like ancient martial arts, baseball is about discipline and spirit, what the Japanese call wa.
Japanese baseball is a metaphor for Japan. You can see the group ethic and the work ethic in operation.
Despite $1 million salaries, it's still enough to drive American baseball stars crazy. Power hitter Bob Horner came to the Yakult Swallows from the Atlanta Braves. He flew home last year after just 1 season.
Nobody seemed to be too upset when they tied. I mean, I can't tell you what they're thinking. All I can tell you was when we tied, everybody was happy. Nobody was mad. It was like, nobody lost. You didn't win, but you didn't lose, and that was okay.
Not all 25 Americans playing ball here have trouble fitting in. Warren Cromartie revived his career in Japan. He's the #1 hitter on the #1 team and was given the rare honor of his own Japanese beer commercial.
Banzai! Banzai! You'll find a lot of people who can't adapt don't stick around long. This is a different league. This is a different way of playing baseball.
But there are signs that things are changing here. Some Japanese players are beginning to learn the finer points of the good old American game. Bill Whitaker, CBS News, Tokyo.
That's the news. Connie Chung will be here tomorrow. I'm Bob Schieffer, CBS News in New York. Good night.
The reigning Super Bowl champion 49ers, led by new head coach George Seifert. A preseason collision tonight on CBS Sports.
This